The Connector Next Door is your invitation to meet the natural connectors all around us. They represent the everyday event planners who are energizing their communities every single day. Their stories are familiar, fun, and full of charm. Your host, Lisa Garrow, is a lifelong event planner and has been a connection strategy coach for over a decade. She knows events can become energized connecting points where communities can gather and grow. Let's listen in as she strikes up a conversation with today's Connector Next Door.
Winnie Sue came to Canada 30 years ago as a financially struggling student from China. Eventually, she started her own small accounting business. Today, she has a team of 15 professionals serving over 200 small businesses in the Greater Vancouver and Fraser Valley area in BC, Canada. Winnie never stops learning. She studied for an MBA by taking online classes throughout the pandemic. Using the 18-month fast-track route, she graduated with all honors for all 12 of her courses at the end of 2021, at the age of 59, all while working full-time to manage her business. In fall of 2021, with 3 fellow co-founders, she started her Dream Impact project by founding Vision to Reality Foundation, or V2RF, a 100% online free business community to help newcomers with their entrepreneurial journey. As of this recording in October 2023, the V2RF online community had 691 members on its platform. In our conversation today, Winnie shares that V2RF is a rare, truly multicultural, inclusive online community that welcomes anyone with a dream and the ambition to turn their visions into reality. Well, welcome back, everyone, to the Connector Next Door and to another amazing conversation that it feels, Winnie, that we have been having conversations over the last few weeks, and it's just one long, beautiful, extended conversation. So welcome here. I'm so glad that you're here to have this specific conversation about connection with me today.
I'm quite excited because I had been following you for a while online before I actually know you as an individual because you're more famous up there. And
Oh.
for me, it was looking up and just saying, who is this lady and creating this particular podcast? It's a really interesting name, number one. And number two, whatever the content she put together or the guests she invited, it's very interesting, inspiring, intriguing, and asking questions make me think. That's one of the reasons why you attracted me in the first place. So I thought maybe, Lisa, you're the like-minded person as myself, and that's why I extended the either the invitation or just try to tasting you. Just say, hey, like, Lisa, do you want to get to know me? You're in Alberta, I'm in Vancouver, BC, and we don't know each other from Adam. Do you want to know me?
And I just want to add a ditto to that, because for me, when you reached out, I was just thinking, I didn't know you before you had reached out. And I love how not just what you've created, and we'll talk about that a little bit in this conversation, but how you've been showing up and how just the message that you want to put out to the world and who you are as a person, just so inspiring. And I had the joy of turning on Zoom, and you joined us via Zoom from Vancouver when we had our event planners retreat this last weekend. And it was just so amazing because we were just chatting before I hit record here, but we had quite an emotional first day, and it's all about getting grounded for growth the second day. And you were the light at the end of our tunnel on day one, where you came on and you talked about the 5 mindsets, and I loved how you were able to unpack for us what it's been like for you to really set your mind on the future. And as we get into this conversation today, we'll talk a little bit about vision to reality, but also how you just, for you moving forward, you've had challenges in life, and just your I love how you're able to look at what the future is bringing. And so as we get started in this conversation today, could you start us off with that? What does connection mean to you when you kind of think of the word connection? How would you describe that? What does it look like in your life?
Before I listened to your podcast and did some research for this particular word, because I truly believe anybody heard this connection as a particular word, they will have a different kind of a how to say brain connections for their own.
Yes.
We all have different translations, different descriptions, not the same as from the dictionaries or whatever the Google search. Connections for me is more like the influence or our own as an individual, as a person in this on this earth, your own sphere of influence is your connection, and that's how I would translate that, or at least I can understand or comprehend that particular word in my own mind.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel that each of us, we're on this earth, there's a purpose for our life, and no matter what your faith, your belief, and where you come from. I came from mainland China, which is a communist when I came to Canada 30 years ago, even now still communist. but I'm just saying completely different cultural background, right? We have a lots of Buddhism type of a religion, cultural background ingrained in the Chinese culture, and with Laozi, with many Confucius, like beliefs. But as an individual, when I was quite young, I believe my parents would just say, you have to read 1,000 books, you have to walk hundreds of miles, because that's make you more understanding this world. You have more wisdom to gaining from it, not just only bury your head, only study, or working, right? But if you wanted to be somebody truly have the satisfaction in your heart, happy in your life, you really have to learn from others, not just from your own experience. And so I remember it's my mom or my dad told me, said, if you think you're smart, you learn from your own experience, and you failed something, where you did something didn't work, you learn from it, learn a lesson, next time you don't do it. That's mean you're smart. But if you truly thinking you're wise, you have wisdom, you're not only learning from your own experience, you're learning from others' experience, and which is from the books. Because thousands of years, people writing books about their experience, about their country, their life, their family, their religion, their belief, and whatever the mistake they made. And that's where you gain more wisdom from those books. So that's the reason why you need to read thousands of tens of thousands of books. And also you need to travel. When you travel, you meet all the strangers, all the people you don't know. And then you learn from them because they have life experience. So when they tell you some stories, you might able to summarize something. Oh, there's a lesson. Maybe I shouldn't do that, or maybe I should do that. Even you haven't experienced it yet. So I truly giving the credit back to my parents. They're really wise. They showed this to me and my sister when we were younger, and constantly encourage us to read and to travel. And so these two things are becoming my life, more like my personal hobby or personal passion. One is reading, one is traveling. And that benefited me tremendously for making connections with the strangers, making connections with other people, and also developing the, how to say, personal, you can say personal calling, or personal faith, or personal life purpose. Is to have the two models I talked to you when we had a coffee. One is to live a life without regret, which is anything I truly want to do, desire to do, or the book I want to read, the place I want to go, the people I want to meet, I will make an effort to make that happen. Not me every single time it's a happen, but at least I make an effort to make it happen, to save money to go some places or go to reach out to Lisa, like on LinkedIn or something, right? I wanted to make that happen. So I have no regret in my heart because at least I tried. I tried my best to do it. And the second, my life model or life purpose is to be positively impact or positively influence anybody across my life path. This one, I wrote them down at age probably 15 or 16 in a assignment, literature assignment from the teacher said, what do you want to do when you grow up? What is your life purpose? And then I remember all of us, it doesn't matter which country, which background, we all had that kind of a topic from our, high school assignment or something. And so I wrote down that's my second purpose, because I truly believe even each of us, we're so insignificant in this universe. If we look at the skies and there's millions, zillions, billions of stars at our Earth, it's just tiny, like a grain of sand. And we're on this grain of sand. So we're even smaller than a molecule or even atom or whatever, right? I constantly have that kind of an image in my mind that we're so tiny, so small, but each of us, we're also so unique because we have different story, different life to live, even just 90 years, 100 years, or 80 years, or 70, doesn't matter how many years we're on this earth. So this will give me the really clear perspective. Need to treat every single day as almost as the last day of it, or just treat today is like a moment. You have to treasure, you have to really use it to the best, to your own, not only the heart satisfaction and also serving others as the way you truly bringing that satisfaction when you're giving other that positive impact. Even you just meet somebody on the street 5 minutes and or meeting a lineup, buying a cup of coffee and to have that positive vibe, like from your body to. So that's creating that kind of a connection and influence and a sphere of your own body. You put yourself in the center and you have a sphere of influence for your family, sphere of influence of your friendship, sphere of influence of your coworkers or your career, your business, your staff, your clients, and then sphere of influence of this society, our community, our local community. So all those ones as one person, actually, we can do so much. But many times people don't realize how powerful is one grain of sand. It's such a power of a connection, like what you try to promote on your podcast.
So you brought up the idea of influence at the beginning when you were describing what connection means to you. And when you're at the center of influencing, whatever that ripple effect is to our family, to our workplace, in our business, what's so cool about that is that if we all take that perspective, you have all these overlapping ripples where influence goes both ways. What I know to be true of you, even though we're new friends, you are always looking for that back and forth. You want to learn from others. You want to read that book or travel and understand others more, while at the same time having your own sphere of influence and really knowing yourself so well, and to be able to put your stamp on the world on this little grain of sand that is influencing hearts and minds of people around you in a way that they feel empowered and they feel like they can actually make their vision a reality, which is such a beautiful, I think, picture where I can see through so many stories. You've shared some really fun and incredible and humorous stories with myself and with our Candy community here. And I love every time that you share something, because there's something you've learned from it. There's something that you're taking with you into the future. And I'd love for people that are listening in today to understand a little bit of when you came to Canada. So that was 30 years ago. What was that journey from landing in Canada and then finding your way? And now you have Vision to Reality Foundation, which has started, and you've kind of allowed yourself to evolve into something where that ripple effect and that sphere of influence is starting to happen in a pretty big way. Could you maybe share with those that are listening that don't know about you, sort of how did Vision to Reality come to be?
I truly believe this all come from a person's life purpose,
Mm,
because we do need to live a life with intention, like an intentional living. One of
mm,
John C. Maxwell's book I really love, it's called Intentional Living. So basically, that's talking about our life actually meant something. Doesn't matter what is your background, what do you believe, what you're doing, what is your agenda, what is your age, all of us has a purpose to come to this world. So I had this realization very young, and I just feels even I'm just a shooting star, even I'm just a grain of sand in this earth, my life maybe only 80 years, maybe 70 years, but I truly like to leave a track after I leave this world. But of course, at age 15, I had no clue how to do it. More like just a concept, or maybe I heard from somewhere, maybe I read from some book. I have no idea where that come from. But I believe many of us, when we were young, we all have these kind of a desire, like our life meant something. I should be somebody, not mean famous to be a president or whatever Nobel Prize winners or super rich, the richest person in the world. Not that kind of a desire, but more like my life have meanings, means something. So that I believe always a compass for my own life. Doesn't matter where I go, what obstacles, what kind of things are happening in life. If you have that compass, and our life is just like on a boat on a river, and long river, and eventually will be melting into the ocean. And all of us will be part of the ocean and melting into it. That's how I see that analogy for my own.
mhm.
But when you go through a river, it doesn't matter Nile or Colorado River or Fraser River in our like Vancouver here, there's rocks, there's tunnels, there's waterfalls, right? There's a really big waves, there's storms, there's like a freezing cold in the winters. You're gonna experience everything. And why don't just enjoy this journey? Like
Mm,
even through the Fraser River, go through Alberta, from Canada here, from like a Vancouver here, going to Alberta. And if you go through the Rocky Mountains, if you take the Rocky Mountaineer train, I'm privileged to took one time, basically just follow the Fraser River's bend, right? I mean, you can see
mhm,
the season changing, the landscaping changing, the mountains changing, the tree change, everything's changing. So our life constantly going to change, constantly going to have good times and bad times. So why don't just take it to your heart to say, hey, this is the part of life I'm taking as it is, and then I do my best to deal with it. So in
mm,
that way, you always have that compass in your heart. Your life meant something. Every time you try to do the best you can. You have time depressed. You have time you're really tired. You need to get on the shore to rest a little bit. And sometimes you're just fighting all the time because there's a really rapid, waves or something.
mhm,
So that's how I always thinking. If you have a compass in your life, I have a purpose, and you know why you're here. You know what is you born for. As I thinking, I wanted to have positive impact or influence to others. And you can always find something to do, even at work. My first job, of course, I came here, I did babysitting, McDonald's and cleaning houses, warehouse, packing boxes. The first 2, 3 years, that's basically my 2, 3 jobs. Every time I have 2, 3 jobs, and because they only pay like a few dollars an hour at early 90s. And as a poor student, that's what I did. But the first office job I found, I was the only Asian, and there's 9 people working there for probably 10 years already in that small office. Um, but the first day I came in, I just wanted to be the sunshine of the office. So basically, I was smiling to everybody. and go to different offices. Said, do you need a coffee? Do you want me to take your garbage? Because I was youngest one, and those people more like around their 40, 50. They're all Caucasians. The owner is a Jewish guy. And so basically that's how I did. So that's the 2 weeks I told the owner I can work for you for free because he doesn't want me. When he interviewed, he just said, Winnie, you have no Canadian working experience. Your English is so bad. You have no Canadian, like a connections or anything. And you don't have an accounting background because you have a science degree from China. Why do I need to hire you? I told him, I said, if you don't hire me, you're stupid. Actually, I meant to say, you made a big mistake, but my English didn't really know how to express it. I just came out directly to say, if you don't hire me, you're stupid. I'm hardworking. I'm smart. I can learn something really fast. And I basically said all the good things about myself.
Of course. Oh my goodness.
And then so I realized, so he told me, he said, oh, I have to get somebody to train you. You basically have no ideas how to do accounting, And then I just say, I'll give you an offer. You cannot refuse. I work for 2 weeks for free. And if 2 weeks I can learn the things, you hire me. Otherwise, you let me go. You have nothing to lose. So basically, he said, 16 years in my business, nobody offered me this one. Eventually, he hired me for that 2 weeks for free. And 2 weeks, I learned really hard. I learned all the softwares about, how to do accounting and from the person there. And in that 2 weeks, I was bringing coffee to every office and helping them dumping the garbage, helping them clean, and asking what I can help. Everybody in the small office. After 2 weeks, and of course, the person training me told the owner, said, oh, Winnie can take this job, and she understand, what she's doing. And then all other employees are telling the boss, said, she's a ray of sunshine in our office. You have to hire her. That's basically I came in. Yeah.
What I love about that story too, it really speaks to your tenacity and your ability to say, I'm going to have a positive environment around me and I'm going to show up positive. It's not that you're asking other people to do that and you're not that yourself. And the idea of reaching for everybody has a vision, like you're saying. Everybody has a passion or a vision or a calling or a something. Some of us have it masked or we haven't really allowed ourselves to look at that. But if we're able to take that and say, what do I need to do in order to make that a reality? What's so cool about that story is that it doesn't necessarily mean that we have to work harder, longer hours, be tougher, lose all our sleep, like all of those things. And it isn't just about being positive, but it's about looking at the future. It's about what's next and how do we create an environment where we can all thrive. Every time I talk to you, you've got more members in this online community that is worldwide, everywhere. How is that Winnie that was way back then showing up for this community now? Like what have you built there, and how are you actually bringing that positivity and that ability to look forward and create the reality of our visions? How is that now looking for you today?
This one just 1 minute from my past. It's when I working in that company on the part-time, I was building my bookkeeping accounting business. So eventually my own bookkeeping accounting business getting busier and busier, earning more and more money evening, weekend for 2-3 years. And I couldn't justify to go to work every day to the company anymore because I was earning more money than the actual job. So I basically told the company eventually from 5 days a week, dropped to 4 days a week, and then dropped to 3 days a week. Eventually I cannot do it anymore. I just say bye-bye, but the owner did understand and I did the transition, helped them hire somebody to take over what I do. So after that, I started my own accounting business right now called the Next Gen Accounting Inc. We serve over 200 small business in Lower Mainland here, around Metro Vancouver. And I have like 12, 15 my advisors working with us, and they're helping those clients. So that's my for-profit business. So I still have to have somewhere earning the money to pay our bills, right? I mean, same things. But as of about 2-3 years ago when the COVID hit, and I don't have to drive to client's office visiting them. I just feel, oh, I have more time. So I did the online MBA course and finished my MBA in a year and a half. Then launched this called Vision to Reality Foundation, because I believe the reason launching this is a match with my personal life purpose, because I like to have bigger impact, positive impact. Even in my accounting business, we did impact hundreds of small business owners to serve them, right? And also impact my 15 staff, training my leaders, right, to take over the business, to running the business so they can run the business on their own. They do, I mean, 90% of the time, they probably don't need me to be there every day. That's why I can be here with you.
Right.
Otherwise, I should have resolved some issues with my clients, right? But the things is that I always feel that in my accounting business, we only have the ability to reach maybe hundreds, maybe 1,000 clients before I die or before I leave this world. So I need a platform to have bigger impact to achieve that personal goal. So this is the selfish reason to have that legacy, right? So after Winnie is gone, who is going to remember her track? Because the track is not Winnie's name. It's more like the foundation, the business she left on this earth. Other young people can keep running it. Right now, my accounting business, I have 2 managers. One is in her early 40s, another one just in her 30s. And they can run the company after I'm long gone. But in our foundation, my 3 co-founders, one is in early 20, one is in mid 30, another one is in mid 40. And they all much younger than me. And eventually they're going to run the foundation. So we start a foundation. The reason is we truly like to help newcomers or anybody move to a city new and they wanted to be self-employed, be a consultant, be an advisor, or be a small business owner. And we can train them, support them, creating an online community to give them that positive, environment. Because many people have the dream to start their own business or be self-employed, but they're scared. Or they feel as though their family or friends are telling them you're crazy. You give up your job, like what you're doing, right? You're not busy enough, but different kind of things they're going to telling them. But in our community is the people, they have the similar mindset and they're thinking they do want to take financial responsibility in their own hand. They do want to start chasing their own dreams. And they can build their business when they still have a full-time job, and eventually, like building up their business to moving forward. We have many people like that in our organization. And right now, our online community this morning, I just checked, we have 690 members as of today,
wow.
or 91 members as of today. We only launched this online community like a year ago. So I couldn't believe the growth. We incorporate and register as a nonprofit society only 2 years ago. We launched this online community a year ago, and look the result. And you already see our content there, and everything is free. We offer all our program free, all our resource free. We try to be the bridge and a connector. So when you saying your podcast is a connector, I just love it, because Vision to Reality Foundation is a connector for the newcomers to a city, connecting with the local business owner, business professional, chamber of commerce, board of trade, and whatever the free resource can help them, teach them. And that's why we're that connector. We're that bridge connecting them to the resource they can trust, because we vetted those resources. Otherwise, there's thousands, hundreds of thousands websites online. Which one you can trust? Especially when you're in a new city, new community, how can you try? I mean, we ran into the same issues in the beginning. So this is why right now our leadership team, our 30-some volunteers, they're all really passionate to help. And I'm hoping to keep our community and our foundation offer free services, free programs for a long time. That's what my own dream.
I see you living that reality of your dream now, but I love that you're also mentoring others into that role, to be leaders, to be trusted, to learn how to vet different organizations, different partners, so that this becomes a safe community for them.
Yeah, I'm thinking that the most important is your own mindset. You are willing to open up your vulnerability to, or like your vulnerable side, and to be heard. Because when we open up ourselves to trust a relationship, trust a friend, it's definitely there's a percentage you might get hurt, right? If somebody, like say something, did something, or left you, or whatever, right? I mean, I truly believe this is one of, at least, one of the core tips I would offer, and thinking everybody 99% or 95% are good, 5% no good, that's fine too, whatever your percentage. But this is truly a huge benefit. And how you're creating that trust is when you know them as a human being. So this is the reason our vision to reality is booming. The reason is that people seeing we allowed every culture, every background. You share your story, your culture, your religion, you not religion, the traditions. You share your cultural backgrounds, your food, your family tradition. And then when we know you as an individual, doesn't matter you come from Africa, from India, from China, from Japan, or from Argentina. We see you as a person, not how to say, a group, or a bias with, we'll put less bias. All of us have bias. I have bias too, but just have a less, because you realize they're individuals just like yourself. We all want to have a better life here, want a better family life, wanted to create a better future for ourselves. We don't need to worry about bills. All of us want the same, or commonalities. We want the same in that sense. And in that way, you're attracting people like-minded, and not try to convince anybody they don't think like you. The most frustration I see many of my friends is the frustration come from they try to convince somebody what they believe, and the other people don't take what they believe or don't take their suggestion. They get frustrated. They get depressed. But why don't you just show up as you, what you believe, what you wanted to live a life, and then whoever likes your idea, they automatically attract to you.
And maybe that's a really great way to round off this conversation today, where the idea of showing up, being trustworthy, being open to trusting others,
Accountable.
and when we come together, and if we had that space, and now we can meet, we've been meeting virtually. We did go for coffee when I was out near Vancouver about 2 weeks ago. I think there's so many people out there that are saying, when I get together, I feel so alone, or I feel like I can't trust the people in the room. And maybe that's the encouragement through this conversation, is that how we show up at these events, whether that's virtual or if that's in person, or if it's a meetup with a group, sometimes it is a little bit of bravery, or to have the courage to trust. And where, as planners, we can also have ways that we can create spaces where people feel at home and they feel like they can be heard. And what a beautiful world this would be if we show up in every instance ready to bring others into our sphere of influence, and then also being curious and open to what they're bringing as well. So thank you so much, Winnie. What a fantastic conversation. Always so insightful.
It's wonderful. It's just, I truly believe this. It's just so building ourselves first. You building yourself, and then you can attract the people like you. But many people thinking, I want that kind of person. I want that kind of a society. I want that kind of a group. But if you want that kind of group, you first has to be there. And then you can lead that group and influence that group. Yeah, exactly. I found that so true. You cannot say, I want that kind of an environment. I want that kind of people. But if you're not that one, it's very hard to attract other people like what you want. You only get who you are, like in your own level. That's how I see it. Yeah. But thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. And we have so much to talk about, even not the recording, just as a friend. I believe we have so much topic we can bouncing ideas and having fun.
I agree. And I'm looking forward to the next conversation. Thank you so much for your time.
Bye-bye.
The Connector Next Door podcast is produced by Candy Event Consulting, where everyday event planners and their teams gain clarity, get connected, and grow in confidence. Subscribe at www.candyconsulting.ca to hear visits with everyday event planners who are putting connections first.